Hello everyone, and welcome to a kind of walkthrough or explanation for the MCM menu of the mod Minerva Follower. I'm just going to be going over the options, talking about a few of them in a little bit more detail, hopefully to answer any questions that you may have and kind of clear up any confusion about them. They all should have their own little description, like little description thing at the bottom of the menu for each option that should hopefully explain the option adequately, if I can talk, enough to where you understand it, but if not, that's why I'm going to kind of go over a few of them. And of course, if you're still confused, leave your questions on the mod page. I will do my best to answer them. So, like any other mod that has an MCM menu, go to your mod configurations. It'll be in your list. I'm in a test profile through Mod Organizer, which is amazing. And so that's why I've only got these two options here. So, but Finder, this will be right here. This is the name of the mod, and you'll have these two pages show up. It's possible, I highly doubt, future versions may have different setup, maybe more pages, but I highly doubt that. So, expect this, but don't be totally surprised if it's different if you're watching this way in the future. So I'm going to start with settings page first, then move on to troubleshooting. Settings has most of the options, and like I said, they all should have their own explanations for this. So the first thing, or you don't have to, but I cannot recommend this enough if you use the MCM, which if you're watching this, you probably do. If not, well then, please do. I designed this mod. You know, RX did an amazing job creating her visually. All of her other stuff, I made her to work through an MCM, through SKC, Sky UI. It was designed around that, so please do use it. There'll be tutorials on the mod page, or not tutorial, but links to tutorials about how to install it if you're unsure. But okay, let's talk about what's important or what's relevant here. Please, I would strongly recommend turn this off. That toggles the dialogue option. You can see down there in the little description bar. Might have to, blow it up a little bit, the video to see. But it says, let's talk about your dialogue. You can turn that off if you're using the MCM. Just do it here. Please, I would strongly recommend doing that. Why? Because you only change these two options through the dialogue. That was how originally it was until I was like, you know what, originally it was only going to be adding dialogue, and then it became, let's make this much more than just an average follower mod. So maybe it still is. I don't know. I think it's a little bit more complex, I should say. Maybe not better, but that's more down to personal opinion. So I would recommend turning this off because you only get to change these two options, and there's no need to have that on here. You can do it right here. So I recommend turning this off, clear up the dialogue options you have for her. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Turns on and off the very, very small number. It's like less than half a dozen lines for sneaking. They're just short, quick little sentences that, excuse me. Oh, sorry, I had a burp there. These are just very, very short little sentences that are, I try to make ones that are, it's hard to find ones that are talking quietly, that sound good, where she's not like, sad and then really happy and then angry and stuff. Ones that have a nice flow to them, so you can turn them off here if you don't want her to be talking while you're sneaking around. This one is kind of self-explanatory again. If you've married somebody, but you maybe want to hear some of her dialogue as lover, or if you just want to hear it, you can turn that on here. If she's married to you, you can turn it on or off, it won't matter. She'll always use it. So this is her idle dialogue option. If you don't want her to make comments while following you around about certain things, this won't turn off her combat ones. I don't really like turning those off. Excuse me, I cannot talk right now. Sorry. This will only turn off her idle comments about certain things. If you just want her to kind of be quiet, you don't want her to talk, turn them off here. So this is probably one of the big ones for some people. This will allow any female elf haughty voiced NPC that is at least your friend, the player, to use the dialogue, or use Minerva's dialogue. So if you have another follower that has a female elf haughty voice type, and you want that follower to use Minerva's dialogue, turn that on. That will allow that follower to use it. If that's off, she won't. This will also change friendly NPCs that they'll now greet you a little bit differently. Friendly NPCs. Friendly female elf haughty voice. Keep in mind this, when I say friendly NPCs, those that have female elf haughty, okay? We all understand that now? Okay, good. Because I'll probably just use friendly NPCs, so. This will allow those they will have her greetings. The greetings when you meet her and when you enter or when you exit conversation, those type of things. So that's one of the big things I think for some people. This is where you turn that on. This is the adjusted spouse dialogue. This is something kind of my own personal preference I put in here. This is kind of the last things I put in. This will slightly change her dialogue if you marry her. This does not alter the vanilla ones. Basically, there's a stack of dialogue in terms of what the game goes through. It starts at the top and goes down. Where I've put mine is ahead of the ones from vanilla, so the game will always reach the ones I've added first and pick those. If you turn this off, it's like you pull the ones I've added out of the stack, and now the game goes down to the vanilla ones. So this slightly changes it up just a little bit. I personally like it. You may not. It doesn't give her a ton of new dialogue. It slightly alters the vanilla lines. So you can turn this on or off depending on what you want. If you use a localized version of the game, excuse me, that's in another language, and you like that voice actress, you can turn this off if you want to hear those lines instead. So, but this is, again, something I personally did, kind of my own personal preference, but you can turn that on or off here, whatever you want. This is all of her extra dialogue. These lines right here are kind of ones that sometimes she says, and you turn around and look at her like, that's not, totally irrelevant, and sometimes it makes total sense. So they're lines that are complete sentences, so in terms of it sounds very natural, but the actual words are, maybe they don't always make sense, maybe they do. I left this off because I didn't want you to first meet her and have her say something and you go, what, are you stupid? That doesn't make any sense. That's why this is off by default, so you can try to turn that on, see what you think. I generally don't use these, but they're there. This is the generic follower goodbye lines. I think she has one of them that's not from the generic dialogue, but it's kind of like it, so I generally turn these on. I think it helps vary her goodbye lines, as there's only 3 by default. Again, I was going for fluidity and lines that sound natural. I was trying to do the least amount of editing possible, not just because I'm lazy, but trying to really make the lines sound like they were there in the game by default. Not trying to make them just, go, it's up and down in terms of, or she's happy and then really angry, or happy and then she's sad, or she's angry and then she's, I didn't want to make it sound obviously edited. So some of them were heavily edited, and I think they turned out pretty good. But these are the ones that, these are only 3 by default. I recommend these on. These, I think they're appropriate. I think they actually fit. So I turn these on usually, so you can decide there. These are hello lines similar to these. They're not generic, or I shouldn't say, they're not from the dialogue generic things, or the ones that you normally hear for neutral NPCs. They are similar, but a little different. Again, I turn these on. I think they help a lot. So you can turn, I don't use this, so it's like this. I usually do that. That's how my options look. So you can try that and see what you think. It's your choice. We've already been over that. I strongly recommend leaving that set to that. I'm going to leave all these options as default just so you're not confused in the menu if you're watching this, but I still recommend turn that off. This is her protection status. If you're someone who, if followers die, it's like, well, crap, they've died. I got to keep moving on. You never reload. That's the sole reason why I put this in here. You can change it. Essential, she'll never die, so you don't have to worry about it, which I recommend because she's very aggressive in combat, and sometimes she's too aggressive and gets herself surrounded and can go down pretty easily. Change it to unprotected. She is like any common citizen NPC, can die by anything, and I mean anything. So she's totally unprotected then in combat. She will, if she goes down, the enemy, she could, they'll strike her again and kill her, and she's dead. Protected basically means the player's the only one that can kill her. Keep in mind also, if you ever strike her while she is in combat, at least once, she can still die by an enemy blow, even while being protected. Basically, if you hit her once while in combat, she's dead. Or if she's been downed, she's been downed, and then you walk up and hit her, then she'll die. So that's kind of protected does. You can change it here, whatever you like. I recommend essential. That's usually what I leave it as. So this option here, please, I don't recommend doing this if she follows the follower framework you're using. The vanilla one, which is the default option, there's amazing follower tweaks. There's 3 extensible follower frameworks, which are your EFFs. There's 1 immersive amazing follower thing, tweaks, which is your IMAFT. Fine, AFT works a bit better, but then there's 2, I think, UFO versions. So if she does not follow the follower framework you're using, you can select this. Be very careful with this. It's not meant to handle, odd situations, excuse me, like moving around, so it makes a lot of noise, it's weird. This is not meant to handle player scripted situations. This is not meant to handle situations where followers are not allowed. This is not a framework. This is kind of like a small attachment that is kind of frail. Be careful with this. This is here just if maybe you want to let her walk around with you for 20 minutes and just kind of walk and maybe fight an enemy or two. That's fine. Please do not marry her using this. I don't know what'll happen. There's nothing built in that will dismiss her like the vanilla and other follower frameworks will. I don't know what'll happen. I never tried it. Don't do it. Like it says, it may not always work correctly, and I don't recommend doing this. If you have a problem with this, and you are doing something like a player scripted situation, or you got married, you know, and I'll try to give you options to help you, but I'm not going to quote unquote fix it. That's kind of your fault. You need to reload. There's a reason why it says I don't recommend it, so please be careful when doing this. Again, it's not recommended. Troubleshooting page. I need to move quickly. This is going on way too long. This is basically these options. If she is in combat, these options will be. You'll be able to select them. They'll be clickable options like that. If she is stuck after combat, let's say she's kind of frozen. You know, she's casting a spell and she's unresponsive. This will have an option. Click it. This will force her to quit combat. It's a bug in the vanilla game. That's pretty much why I put this in here. Otherwise, you'd have to use the console. It's actually faster if you know the command. But I put this in here for people that aren't familiar with the console. You can just go to this, click it. She'll stop combat, and she should respond to you. This is basically if she ever strikes a neutral NPC. Let's say a vampire attack. You'd say you have that. You still have those enabled. So if you have a vampire attack and she strikes a guard. You hit a guard, now the guard's going after her. Like, oh, great. The entire town guard is going after her, and if you strike one, it's like, oh, wonderful. Now I'm going to get a bounty. And you don't want to make, you're like, oh, this is annoying. Just click this. This will cause her and everybody that is, you know, an enemy to her all at once stop. Don't just click this because the guards will, or whoever it is will keep attacking her. Click this one, everybody at once will stop. If it's like a bunch of bandits, everybody will then re-engage and continue fighting because that's how their reaction is supposed to be. If they're neutral, meaning they don't normally fight her, everybody will stop and go back to their business. So that's why this is here. This is a teleport option. If you've lost her, you don't know where she is, and you've left her somewhere, click this, she'll move to you. I don't recommend doing this until you have met her at least once. You can. I don't do it. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure what'll happen with that. What this does is this just teleports her to you. The only reason why I don't recommend it until you've met her is just let her generate correctly. The game is a funny way with generating things that I don't know if it may work just fine. You can try it and see what happens. Again, that's your choice. So, but this will instantly move her to you. She'll appear right behind you. As it says, if you're using physics at all, they may be wonky. They may not work correctly if her body or the armor or clothing she's wearing uses physics. Changing cells, and it will usually fix those abnormalities, letting those things generate properly. So this option will fix her relationship rank. If it becomes changed to something incorrectly, like maybe she's made another mod or some reason she's now a lover. She's talking to you and like, woman, what? Don't talk to me like that. You're not supposed to do that. Come over here. If it's set to lover, you can just go back and change it to whatever. If she is a -3 or -4 rank, which is hostile on sight pretty much, too bad. You've screwed up somewhere. She's just going to attack you. If she's a -2 or -1, then I'll let you have a bit of forgiveness, and you can change it. You can't change it to one of those negative ranks, and you can't change it to acquaintance. The whole point is that for her to, you know, she's a follower, she's supposed to like you, so you can fix that here. If she's an acquaintance also, you can fix it here. This is just to fix her rank. This shows it what it is, and just click it, and it'll change it. So you can click that and see what it is. So anyways, that's pretty much all the options. This went on a little bit too long probably, but hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions still, and any questions, please do leave them on the mod page. You can leave on the video. I may get back to you, but more importantly, even on the mod page is where I'll be more active. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you enjoy using this mod. Take care.